Good morning. So I am in Thomasville, North Carolina today. On a surface level, this is a very boring place to photograph, but that's why I'm here. I'm going to be shooting on the Sony a7CR with the 35mm 1.8. May switch to a different lens, but we'll see. The reason I'm here is because when you spend your whole life growing up in the same area or region, it's really easy for the world around you to start to feel boring. That's why photography feels so much more exciting when you're traveling, compared to when you're walking around your hometown and every frame and composition starts to feel boring because it's the same thing you see every day for your whole life. But I would like to challenge you guys to start looking at things from a new perspective. I used to find it really boring to take these kinds of photos because this is what I grew up around my entire life. My mindset was, if I found it boring, then everyone else probably does as well, right? I couldn't have been more wrong, and I learned that partially thanks to this YouTube channel. Just because you find a place or something boring doesn't mean everyone else does. So that's why I think it's important to take boring photos. Now, I've touched on this in past videos, but I always receive comments from people saying that they enjoy the photos I take or the videos I make because it shows them a part of the world and a culture that they're not used to. They may live in Europe or Asia somewhere and find where they live incredibly boring to photograph, where if I traveled there, I would find it incredibly interesting, and they tell me they want to come here and photograph places like this. My first instinct to tell them is that, well, you're not missing out on much, but then they would probably tell me the exact same thing. It can be the little things in your photos that spark curiosity, whether it's power lines or just the architecture. Or in my case, I see this puddle right here and this water tower. I'm gonna see if I can frame this shot and create something kind of cool. So keep that in mind when you're struggling to find interesting things to take photos of in boring places. You can also wait for stuff like cars to move through your frame, just to make it a little bit more interesting. All right, this is probably what I was most excited to photograph today. It is this old PepsiCo sign. Sadly, there is a white van parked in front of it, and I have got a full photo of it before, so I'm gonna try and figure out a way to make it a little bit more interesting. I like the light we have shining on the brick buildings over here, so we're gonna see if we can shoot it kind of around the corner. Hope no cars are coming. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I freaking love this old Pepsi mural here. I think I may try and get a photo with the 20mm lens, gonna switch from the 35. There's a very fast train going by. But after that, I think that will probably be the final photo, and we've photographed everything that we're gonna photograph today. All right, so I think I'm done. I think photography has definitely made me more appreciative of where I live, and I'm glad you guys enjoy and appreciate seeing the photos and the videos as well. And while I can't wait for the day that I'm able to use this YouTube channel as a way to travel around the world and make videos just like this video, photographing places all around the world, I think I'll always be happy to come back home and take photos here. No matter where I go, I'll always look forward to driving around the North Carolina countryside for hours just to find one interesting thing to photograph. All right, actually, there's one last photo I want to get. Let me just set this up back here. All right, there we go. That is the end of the video. Bye. Now, if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you might remember this spot. The last time I was here, I was doing a portrait shoot right as I started my YouTube channel. And I recently found out that there is a chance that this place might be going out of business if they don't sell the business or find a new owner by the end of the year. Now, this place is near and dear to my heart because my dad and I used to come here a lot and eat together. That was before he passed away. So when I found out there was a chance that this place might be closing down, I decided to come here and take some photos. That was the other morning, and the photos were decent, but the lighting was not the best, so I decided it would probably be a better idea to come here while it's backlit. And while I was here taking photos, it got me thinking about why I actually take photos. When I shot that video here in the past, it was probably about a month before my dad passed. So being here now, it feels like the photos I shoot here take on a whole new meaning. And one last shot with the dispo lens. It is another bright and early morning, super cold outside. But as I've been trying to figure out new places to go and take photos, something that came across my mind is every time I would go up to the mountains, I remembered these 3 places that I would always pass by on the way up to the mountains that I always wanted to stop and take photos of. But I never did because I was usually in a rush to go up to the mountains and take photos. So I figured this morning would be the perfect time to actually go to these places. Excuse the audio if it's not the best. We are right next to the highway after all. But today we're going to be shooting on the Sony a7CR, and we're going to be switching it up actually. I'm going to be using the 20mm 1.8. So by now you've probably seen the title of this video, and I know there are always times that you should be shooting on manual, whether you're shooting with some kind of flash or very specific lighting conditions, but I've been straying away from that recently. Now, for the first 3 years of my photography journey, I never shot on manual. I pretty much exclusively shot on aperture priority. And it's not that I didn't know how to or I didn't understand, I just never really saw the point most of the time. But for the past 5 years, I've almost exclusively shot on manual, but recently that's started to change. But I've been shooting on aperture priority almost exclusively recently. Now, this barn is something I've been wanting to shoot for a long time. I've always passed it when on my way up to the mountains, but I always look at it and tell myself I'm gonna stop and take photos of it one day. I also thought this would be the perfect first place to test out aperture priority and see how it does, since this is kind of a specific lighting condition here, but I think it's doing a pretty good job. I think if we just wait a little bit longer for the sun to rise a little bit more, the light will shine directly on this barn and I think it will look really, really good. But I think I got all of the photos I want with the 20mm, at least for now. I'll keep it with me, and I think I'm gonna switch back to the 35. Oh man, that sun is looking beautiful. All right, the sun should be peaking on that barn anytime now, and let's see how the 35 does. All right, so I'm starting to think maybe the sun will not peak on the barn as much as I want, since you have a direct path for the sunlight here, but then it's cut off by this tree line, which might make it a little difficult to shine there on the barn. Either way, I love the photos I've got here, but I fear if we wait for the sun to rise too much, we won't have that nice red warm glow on it. Now, I'm not too upset because the colors in the sky, the hues still look really, really nice. I think I'm gonna come back down and try and get a little bit more of that foreground element in the photo. All right, I love this composition because I have this grass right here peeking up. Then I have the cornfield in the shot too. Now, you've probably heard people say that they love shooting film because it allows you to slow down and be a little bit more intentional with your photos. Because you have a limited number of photos, and there's not a whole lot of room for trial and error because you really have to nail down your aperture and your shutter speed depending on your ISO. Now, I've tried to take a similar approach with my digital photography, but unless you're shooting long exposures or using a flash like I mentioned earlier, I've realized what's the point when your camera does a pretty good job? All right, I think that's all the photos we're going to be taking at this location. I would consider it a mission success. All right, this next location is cool because it reminds me a lot of Route 66. You've got the old highway here, which aligns pretty much with the new interstate they built in a very similar vein to Route 66. And this location right here, this old shop, is just like something you would see on Route 66. I love the 7-Eleven sign in the background. And then this, it shows like a contrast of modern and old. All right, and we are off to the final location. I've driven past this old putt-putt place before in the past, and it looks like it's closed down, but everything's still here, and it looks like they might be demolishing it kind of soon. So I wanted to get some photos here while I can. The light is kind of harsh, so we'll see if we get anything interesting. All right, I'm not in love with any of the photos that I've gotten here so far, but I think this might be the best composition that we can get here. With this fence with the lights on it and the overgrowth, I think this could make for a pretty decent photo. So I am currently in the Outer Banks. I had an afternoon free. It is currently Sunday. It's about 2 p.m. So the light is not the best right now, but I had some free time. Thought I would get out, make a little video. I thought what better way than to start off the video with filming one of the most iconic spots here in the Outer Banks when it comes to motels. I am going to be shooting on the Sony a7CR with the 35mm 1.8. But I'm going to be switching it up and doing things a little bit differently today because I also brought my Sony a7C, my original a7C. I was thinking, since I am down here at the beach and I especially don't want to be switching out the lenses on my camera very often because I don't want to risk getting sand on the sensor or anywhere inside the camera, I'm going to put my 20mm 1.8 on the original a7C. That way I can use both the 20 and the 35 since I don't have a zoom lens with me. All right, I'm gonna start off today using the Sony a7CR to get these photos of the Seafoam Motel. But we're gonna be driving up and down the coast of the Outer Banks today for a couple hours, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. Let's go shoot some photos. The last time I was here taking photos, the lighting was not very great. It was a very overcast day, and it's definitely not much better now. And the pool's currently nasty and hasn't been drained in a while, so it doesn't make for the most aesthetic photos. No one has said anything to me yet about being here and taking photos, so I assume they're probably used to it at this point. All right, I definitely think I'm gonna be coming back here later today because I'm not sure if I'm entirely happy with these photos, and I won't fully know until I edit them, but I do wanna play it safe. So we'll see if I end up coming back here later today and shooting some more when the lighting is a bit more, exciting. It's funny because when I decided to go out and take these photos, there were plenty of clouds in the sky, but as you can see, they're all heading inland, and we're currently left with nothing but blue skies now. Not entirely a bad thing, but that's just my luck. I was driving along and there are these massive sand dunes here. A lot of traffic, but if I can get a shot of these sand dunes with the power lines going by without any cars, I think it'll make for a nice shot. See if I can hurry before this truck comes. There we go. It's quite windy out here, but that's kind of to be expected, especially here at the Outer Banks. You can never really predict the weather or what exactly it's gonna look like. I'll get a shot this way too. Yeah, you can never really predict what the weather is gonna be like out here. It'll be sunny one minute and cloudy the next. See if I can go out in the road, get a shot. Wait for this van to pass. Give one more shot down here with the road. There we go. That's perfect. I think that's the shot I wanted. Moving on to the next location. All right, I was driving along and I found this old abandoned amusement park, I guess, maybe. Looks like there's a lot more going down the street, so I'm definitely gonna have fun photographing this, but it might be a little bit tricky. It is obviously fenced off, but I think this might be a good time to break out the polarizer. Since I'm not really sure what to expect, I'm gonna take both the A7CR and my original A7C over there with me. Yeah, this light is definitely gonna be difficult to work with. I think I'm gonna start with a simple wide shot. Yeah, this light is definitely tricky to work with. I'm gonna switch over to the A7C with the 20 mil. This place is so cool. There's even more back here. I wonder how long this place has been closed down. And there's even more down there as well. All right, I walked a little bit farther down the street. It looks like we also have an abandoned old water park. I wish I could go inside here, but obviously with the no trespassing signs and we're right on the main road through this town, then I won't even try. I feel like it's always the most unexpected things that you run into that end up making for the best photos. I had no idea that I was gonna come across this today. Gonna get a couple shots with the 20 millimeter here as well. Yeah, I definitely was not expecting to photograph very much of abandoned stuff today, but definitely did not disappoint. All right, so I was driving along and I found this spot. Thought it looked pretty cool. Think it would make for a good photo. All right, I am starting to make my way back and I decided to stop here because the view is absolutely beautiful here. But I'm gonna go up on the dunes here and get some photos. There's a nice curve in the road, especially with these power lines. I think it'll make for a really good shot. The lighting is really starting to improve now. I'd say we're probably about an hour from where I want the light to be, which is nice. I currently see one of the spots I want to photograph in the distance, probably gonna save that for the end of the video. But let's go take some more photos. All right, these are definitely my favorite photos so far today. This spot is incredible. I'm gonna try and switch it up now and get a little bit lower to the ground and try and get some of these weeds. Try and get a foreground element in this shot. Let's see what we can do. Would you believe me if I told you this is the first good view of the ocean I've actually had this entire trip? I've been here for 3 days. It is April, so it's not really the best time of the year to go to the beach. It's currently about 55 degrees outside, but it's great for taking photos. I have to empty all the sand out of my shoes now, but I have a feeling it won't be the last time. All right, so this is a photo I've wanted for a long time. I've never gotten to photograph this lighthouse before, so I'm really excited to do this. And we've got a beautiful view, not too many people out here since it is a Sunday. So I'm gonna get a photo of it from right here. Then we're gonna walk around to another spot, which I imagine is probably where all the people go to. So it might be a little bit more tricky. All right, the photos I've gotten here are decent so far, but I think the spot that we're walking to is gonna be the shot. It's a shot most people get of this lighthouse, but I've never taken the photo before, so I am very excited. All right, I think this is the spot. This is the iconic spot that everyone photographs this lighthouse from. And the light is looking pretty good. The sun is not set, but it's definitely on that side, so we're getting a nice shadow on the left side of the lighthouse, with the light hitting it on the right side. And I think it looks great. So let's see. I brought my 35, also brought the A7C with the 20mm as well. So I'm just gonna experiment and have some fun with this. All right, while I've got no one coming, I'm gonna get a couple shots with the 20mm. I think the 35mm was more than enough for this location, but it doesn't hurt to be safe, and you never know, it could look entirely different. I think I might need to move a little bit closer for this though. I gotta say, it's been so convenient carrying around 2 cameras, one with each lens. I'm gonna have to start doing this more often. All right, these photos here did not disappoint whatsoever. I'm super happy with them. And we are now off to the final location of the night, hopefully, I think, maybe, unless I see something else. And hopefully those photos will be just as good as these photos were. And we've made it to the final spot, or maybe you guys can see a little better. The final spot. This location has been on my bucket list for a long, long time as well. Definitely gonna take my time and get all the shots here that I possibly can. Now, this is definitely one of the most iconic spots here in the Outer Banks to take photos at. And I will say, it is probably better shooting during morning golden hour than it is shooting in evening golden hour, because you generally want the sun to light up this side of the building, because this side of the building has the tower on it. Now, sadly, I'll have to save that for another time. I'm leaving tomorrow morning, so I probably won't have time to come back out here and shoot any more photos, which is totally fine. I think as the sun continues to set just a little bit more, it'll look really nice. The spot definitely benefits from golden hour light, and I'm learning that very, very quickly. But still, I think I'm gonna be able to get some pretty incredible photos here. All right, for the next photo, I definitely wanna try and capture that sun flare as it kind of peeks around the tower. So I'm gonna have to get down low because I want a little bit of foreground. All right, I'm gonna try walking around to the back side over here so I'm not shooting directly into the sun. I know a lot of people shoot it from this angle over here. So I'm gonna see what I can get. Yeah, I definitely think it's gonna look a lot better from this angle. That way we still have some of the sun hitting it. Now I just have to find the right spot. All right, I think up here on this dune is gonna look pretty good. If I can get a little foreground element action in here. I think I might actually need to step back a little farther. All right, now this is a pretty good angle. I like it a lot. I find myself just shooting the same shot over and over again because the lighting is getting better by the minute. I gotta say, this location definitely did not disappoint. All right, I think I've gotten all the shots I want with the A7CR and the 35mm. I think I'm gonna switch over to the 20mm on the A7C now. The lighting is getting absolutely perfect, so there's a chance I might need to bring the 35 back out, but definitely gonna be a lot of fun playing around with the 20mm here. All right, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to switch back to the 35 for a couple shots here. The lighting is perfect. I was completely wrong about morning golden hour being the better time, or maybe it is, but this lighting does not disappoint whatsoever. You probably should have parked and walked down by the end, but it's fine. All right, we have made it to the next stop, also right off the highway. But I passed by this village motel and there's a very cool old car parked right here out front, and this bus as well. So I think I could get some pretty decent photos here. Excited to see how these photos turn out. All right, this location is really cool actually. It looks like they're doing some kind of renovation or demolition. I'm not exactly sure. But the sun's starting to come out a little bit more. I'm super happy with the photos I've gotten here so far. Yeah, I almost didn't stop at this spot, but definitely glad I did. So I thought a great way to start off 2025 would be with a little bit of photography. We've got a major cold front coming through next week, and I figured if there was any day I was gonna get out and shoot some photos, it might as well be today, the warmest day of the week. But we are out pretty early, so it is about 35 degrees outside, but we're at a pretty interesting location. So the location that we're at is an old abandoned NASCAR racetrack that was abandoned back in 1968. And since then, it's been turned into a kind of a park. You can walk around the track, which is really cool. So a little bit of history about where we're going. This is the Okinichi, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, Okinichi Speedway. It was opened in 1948. It's one of the very first NASCAR tracks. It was an all dirt track, but it was closed in 1968. And for many years it was abandoned, but it was eventually kind of reopened, as a park. So most of the stands and the track is still there for you to walk around. There's also some old race cars around the track, so definitely excited to photograph those. And it is very, very cold outside. And some fun facts about this place. The very final race here in 1968, the race was won by Richard Petty, the NASCAR legend. And the person who originally opened this track in the 1940s, I think, after this place closed, he went on to open Talladega, which is a very important part of NASCAR history. All right, we have made it to what I think down there is going to be the actual track, from what I see. Yeah, I believe that's right. Overall, very cool place. I've seen a couple people so far, but it hasn't been too bad. So it looks like this is the old track. Very cool. Looks like I see a couple cars up there. I'm gonna look for the grandstands. That's the first photo I think I want to get. All right, I think I made it to the first spot I want to take photos at, probably the main spot. There's actually not a whole lot around here. It's mainly this and another car down the track there that I passed earlier. This is pretty much it. So I'm gonna have to get really creative if I want to be able to get like a lot of shots here. But I'm gonna be shooting on the Sony a7CR with the 35mm 1.8 for the most part, I think, but I also brought my 20mm as well, so I'm definitely going to want to get some wide shots here. All right, I think it's time for the main shot that I wanted here. So I need to get nice and far back because I wanted a nice wide shot of this car with the stands in the background. And I love that we have the contrast of the orange pine needles here on the ground, like I mentioned, but we also still have the green pine trees. I was worried about coming here anytime other than in the summer. I was worried that it might look a little too empty, but I think it looks great. Only thing that could have made this better is if there was a little bit of fog, but I'm not complaining. All right, so I think I've got the main shot here that I want. So now I'm just gonna play around with compositions a little bit. I'm gonna try and get really low to the ground, maybe get some foreground elements. I think it could look really good for the photos. Overall, there's not a whole lot of different things here that we can do. So definitely gonna have to get creative with it. But from the photos I've taken so far, I think they look amazing. And I'm definitely glad I came to this spot. Okay, that might be my favorite photo yet. That was so cool. I think I'm gonna switch to the 20mm now, just so I can get these shots out of the way. And then we'll go up into the stands and see what photos we can get there. I hate switching lenses while I'm outside. I feel like I'm going against everything I've been taught and I've learned over the years. Because I feel like it's inevitable, it's impossible to not get dust on your sensor or on the rear element. But it's okay. So this is gonna be cool. Wow, okay. With the 20mm, I think that came out even better than I expected. I love getting that foreground element, especially with this orange pine needles. Keep on bringing those up, but it looks so good. This spot is turning out even better than I expected. All right, since we have the 20mm, I'm gonna move a little bit closer. All right, there's some people coming, so I'm gonna try and hurry and get this shot before they enter the frame. All right, I think I've photographed all I can of this car for now. Maybe I'll come back and get some more shots, but we're gonna move up to the stands and see what photos we can get up there. And I think I'm gonna stick to the 20mm for now. I really love the images I got with it so far here, so we're gonna see what we can do. I feel like it's definitely gonna be a little bit more tricky to top the photos I shot down there up here. But I think if I play around with it, I like all the moss growing here on the stands. I think I can make it work. So this spot is actually pretty cool as well. I'm loving this moss. I'm gonna try and get some closer up photos of the moss. I think these might be the final photos I take with the 20mm. After that, I'm gonna switch back to the 35. All right, now it's time to walk up here and see what we can possibly get from the top of the stairs. I think I see a nice composition right here. And there's some people here walking through the frame that I was about to get, so I'm gonna see if I can frame them perfectly in between these two trees. And while the purpose is not to take photos of people, Yeah, I'm definitely glad I switched back to my 35 for that, because if I was using the 20mm for that shot, I feel like the car would have looked like it was so incredibly far away, you wouldn't have really even noticed it in the shot. As you can tell, there's nothing really inside except a bunch of graffiti, so I'm not even gonna bother photographing that. But they do have one of the old classic Pepsi logos here. It looks like it was probably done semi-recently, because that definitely would not last from the 1960s. So, but I think we can get a good photo of this. All right, and that is it for the spot. So I think I'm gonna start making my way back and see if there's anything I missed. But otherwise, I am really happy with all of the photos that I got here.